Aloha, everyone, in another level living land. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Freedom Fridays. So happy that you're here because we are in store for an amazing treat. We're talking about the power of resilience. And I want to let you know this is something that I'm feeling like a great topic, especially in this time with all this going on. And just before I introduce our guest today, I want to let you know why Freedom Fridays. This show is designed to support you as the entrepreneur in achieving success in your business and life harmony so that you can stress less, strengthen your relationships, lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum, work smarter, not harder, and enjoy your own time, money, and emotional freedom so that you can be more present with your loved ones. I want you to give a warm Another Level Living welcome to our awesome guest today, Tina Fornwald. Hi, Tina.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
So happy that you're here with us. I want to be able to let them know a little bit about you before we get into it. I know you have some amazing wisdom to share with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet Tina. Tina was born and raised in Chicago. She's a woman on a mission to help and support others navigate through grief. So, she's going to be sharing her story about her experiences with grief in us and also how her grief journey will with you will be able to bring hope in helping develop a life that you love and not just exist because there's so much to be able to live for as even on the other side of all that we've gone through. So Tina is she is the founder of Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, and it is a registered 501c3 with a mission to create a safe space for candid discussions on the journey of grief while connecting the widowhood community with an extensive range of professionals, materials, and support groups to foster encouragement, healing, and hope, and not just live, but to create a life that where they can thrive. Tina, thank you so much for being here and blessing us with your presence today.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Feather.
Oh, my pleasure. Totally my pleasure, my honor, and my purpose. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and why this why is it so important to be able to talk about resilience today?
Resilience, you say that word, but it doesn't happen unless there was a struggle before it. So we often just want to focus on the idea that I'm resilient. But resilient through what? What was that struggle? What was that hardship? What was that obstacle that you endured? Was it having to relocate during COVID because you lost your job? Now you take the job loss and you created your own business. Was it the death of a loved one that you had to persevere because they handled all the finances, they managed the children, and now you're creating a new life in their absence? So resilience is known deep inside of ourselves. Yes, life is full of obstacles, but if I find out and take that moment of self evaluation, identify what I need to do to persevere, then I can apply that to any situation in life where challenges come.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. You know, a lot of times, especially after this pandemic, we've had so much uncertainty. And I mean, that just highlighted it. And one thing we are fortunately are not immune to as humans is the loss of a loved one or someone getting ill or something happening that's causing a need and calling for resilience. I so appreciate you highlighting that and being able to share that. What are some of your thoughts on strategies or ways or um even what's coming to me, even signs of how of what is needed in order to be able to step into more resilience as we're going through things?
Thank you for that question. And when we look at different items, I want to say grief may become, we often connect it to the death of a loved one. But grief is failed health. It is things that we expected to go one way and it went a different way, and we had to pivot to be able to deal with that. But it's usually the loss of a loved one becomes a grief that we can no longer bear. And it takes over everything else that we were able to sort of navigate. Three things that I have looked at for myself personally when my late husband, Mark, died. Grief is natural. It is part of life. And enduring, like you said, you cannot exist in this world and not have some type of challenges. So, first of all, I had to say this situation was not an attack on me personally. Death is a part of life. Sometimes losing a job, sometimes different things that happen. When you can first say in your mindset, this is not something that happened to me, if that was a circumstance and it was a part of life, then first of all, it changes the narrative on how I see it. So when I came to the conclusion that Mark's death, though I still love him today, but coming to the terms that this is part of life. Was I sad? Do I still get moments of sadness? Absolutely. But I validate my feelings and let myself know that that's normal. Because when I try to not do what the normal thing is, I'm expending energy that I need to use to be able to learn how to continue living my life. So I needed to take an assessment of me and check in with myself. Okay, I'm sad. How is that sadness showing up? I didn't go back to work for 3 months. I didn't have the energy to do that. So what that was, I needed to clear out what I had to do and what I didn't need to do. And if I had the opportunity to eliminate some things that were going to cause additional pressure, I removed that from my life. The second thing that I did, I evoked my community. I gave people in my life, my family and friends, the opportunity to see the rawness of my situation and to give me input, to give me advice, because we all know the things that we think in our heads sound stellar until we say them out loud. And then you have somebody go, were you really going to do that? And then you get some feedback and you go, okay, let me tweak it a little bit. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. Let my family and friends know I did not get out of the bed for a whole week and I didn't take a shower. Okay, week two, we're going to need to take a shower, which goes into the third thing. After you've done that self check in, after you've made yourself accountable to community, and let me go back, community may be family and friends, community may be a journal. You may not be ready to step outside yourself, or maybe community could be your mental health professional. But now, after those two, you have to make a plan to start moving. And moving, what that looks like, it's not the idea that you're moving away from your loved one. You're moving and continue what life looks like. So movement may be, I'm going to take a shower next week because this week I didn't take a shower. Maybe next week I'm going to go for a walk. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to call a friend because this grief situation has been so heavy that I've been muted. And I need to determine I don't want to stay right here. So what do I need to do? So that self-assessment, that check-in, creating that community to hold yourself accountable, whether it's low key with a journal that you go back and said, I promised myself I would do XYZ, or you expand it to family and friends, mental health professionals, and then you start taking those steps on what it looks like to be able to move forward.
Oh my gosh, so much amazing wisdom, Tina. Thank you so much for sharing that. There was a couple of things that stuck out that I wanted to highlight, especially for our listeners. And also what was coming up as you were talking, you know, it's also what can bring grief is even the worry of it happening, right? So there's a
Yes.
lot of people.
Anticipatory grief. Yes.
Right, right, exactly, and it's so powerful to be able to recognize too that can be a loss. So, when Tina and I were able to talk and to get to know each other, I had shared with her that one of the things that I was worried about, especially on my business life harmony journey, was my husband had several widowmaker heart attacks. He almost passed away, and that pattern of being worried of what could happen or what would happen led to a lot of the grief even that you
Mm,
described as if he or as if it had happened, right? So that part where you saying that grief is a natural process, like being able to understand that a lot of times, I know for me and for other people who are dealing with challenges that we're talking about, it's like the the worry or the concern of what's going to happen, and or that I shouldn't even be grieving, right? Like you probably heard that too, like, okay, it's been so long, like, okay, go ahead and move forward. But a lot of times not even being aware that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to process. It's okay to lean into it. So therefore you could have that self check-in. I love that you mentioned that part too, because a lot of times when something happens, we can go inward, right?
Yes.
Inward in our own thing. So it led to the beauty that you talked about as holding your community accountable, right? Being able to be that model. Okay, grief is natural. This is how I am. This is what's going on. And then your community can also support you and kind of as needed, right? And it's that part where it highlights like we are all one, we are all connected,
Yes.
and when we can be able to help hold the space for people in love, even in their grief, which is a lot of the stuff that you're doing, it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. So I appreciate you sharing that. And then the third one of start moving. Okay, cool. This is a lesson, and this is life. It wasn't an attack that happened to me. This was something that we need to be able to process. How do we move forward? And I love that you shared that way to move forward, because that's one of the biggest questions that happens is I don't even know what to do. What is life going to look like? What is it going to sound like? What is it going to feel like? So your wisdom was just so amazing. I want everyone who's listening to, first of all, sharing is caring. Share this because you know that there's someone in your world who is probably dealing with the same things. And this message, the wisdom that this lady is sharing right now, can speak to their soul too. Right. And also put in the comments like which one of those three steps that Tina talked about, spoke to you the most. Like, where are you in your journey? Oh, Tina, that was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What else? I'm sure as I talked, something probably came up or whatever, but what else? What else that can support people on this journey of stepping into their resilience as they're navigating obstacles and grief?
That is a very good question. Thank you, Dr. Heather. I cannot um, just relay enough that grief is normal. We hear Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's five stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And then David Kessler has now introduced a sixth one, which is finding meaning.
Mm,
And sometimes people feel like my grief needs to go step one, I'm in denial. I can't believe he died. 2 weeks later, I'm going to be angry. 3 weeks later, I'm now bargaining because if I want to believe this didn't happen, 4 weeks later, I'll be in depression. 5 weeks, oh, I accept it all. Now it's time for me to take my grief and find meaning in the world. All those things happen in 5 minutes. It is
mm,
not something like that. It is a spiral ball of everything happening where you're sitting there one moment realizing I'm picking up the phone to talk to their employer, to two, that I can't believe how mad I am about that. To accept it's messy, accept that you will get there on your own speed and your own time. Life will require you to keep showing up, and you'll have to make moments where you give yourself grace to be able to fall apart. And
mm,
every day you'll be a little step closer to what it is. But don't compare your grief to someone else or your journey. You may get golden nuggets from other people who have been on a similar path of yours, but you have to make your own journey. And to be honest with yourself when you're having long periods of sadness, because you can hide from the world, but you cannot hide from yourself. And be able to say, life sometimes is harder than I want it to be. And I'm going to just have to push a little bit more. And I'm going to have to know that I'm capable of doing this. The universe, God, life did not bring me something that I don't have the capacity to deal with. I may have to engage friends to carry some of that load because I cannot do it all. I may have to be transparent to the people in my sphere so they know just how challenging it is, and then they can shore up with me and help.
oh, so good. So good. One of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking is that part about there's a message in the mess. Right? A lot of times, what we think could be happening to us, because a lot of times, regardless of what it is, it can feel like a personal thing, right? But
Yes.
it's happening for us. It's calling us to be able to what is the message or the learning that can be shared out of this experience, even though it was in the depths, it created the depth, like the darkest night of the soul, like this part, but out of that, um there's a message beyond, not only in the moment, but also even beyond. One of the things that I learned on my journey, and I'm sure you have too, was started the Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, was okay, this is a message, this is something happened. Now I can be able to share this and also be a beautiful, safe place for people who may be going through these same things or go through similar things, and be able to let them know that there's somebody there that can understand and appreciate and hold the space for them too. That's so beautiful. I appreciate that. I
You're
appreciate you.
welcome. I would agree with that. I just would caution someone. I did not start off when my husband died thinking of meaning. I was at the end of a hallway at the hotel we were in, losing my mind. First, I had to take care of me. You cannot pour out of an empty vessel. So the idea of meaning may be something on the long game, but first, take care of yourself. And in your personal journey, it may well possibly evolve into a way that you can use your experience to help other people. But I wouldn't want you to burden yourself with, I've got to find meaning out of this.
Oh,
No,
yes. Yes.
you want
Time,
to just
grace, ease, grace.
you want to just realize you are dealing with something and you're trying to move yourself through that. And on the end of that, we are 7 years out from my husband passing. The person that I am now is different from spending 32 years with Mark and being there when he passed. But life naturally evolved into an opportunity to make meaning. This wasn't something I started out with, it happened organically. And I
Yes.
think that when you spend time dealing with your own healing and your family that was impacted by what the situation you're grieving, that it will organically find its way to you as far as what you can do to leverage that to help other people.
So true. So true. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tina. And so tell us, as you think about this whole conversation, like what would be the biggest thing that you would want to leave with us today?
Thank you for that question. What I want people to know is I know you hear it oftentimes that it's a cliche, you're stronger than you think you are. But that often makes you feel like you're this, this giant weightlifter and you can take this situation and lift it all. Bite the elephant one bit at a time. Don't try to take it all at once. Identify what you can do today. Write a list of 3 things that you want to accomplish, and then move until the next day. And when you're able to check off, I accomplished this, I accomplished that, that's going to give you some internal joy. It could just be that I, once again, took a shower today, that I actually rearranged the table, or I made a list of what I wanted to do next. Those steps of accomplishment will encourage you to be able to do more the next day. And then when you go back and look at all the things you accomplished, you'll be able to reflect and see that you have been able to accomplish something. You may be starting a new business, get that tax ID number, talk to a CPA, be able to talk to a legal lawyer, write out that business plan outline, start developing in steps. And then as those steps start creating accomplishments, you will realize where you are successful and you continue to carry what your grief was, but you're going to carry it differently. You will have memories of your loved one. You're not moving life and moving without them. Your love, that love expands and is forever with you, and you will carry them. You'll hear their voice as you make different decisions and do things in life. But just pace yourself and then have a way to be able identify your successes and be able to move forward and just embrace what you're living and doing.
Ah, I love it. I love it. And it's interesting because that's a lot of the part that we talk about here at Another Level Living, that lean in, that processing. And then as you're moving forward in life, the ability to be able to let go, because even that allows hearing their voice or reminding the positive memories to be able to come in. And then that also allow you to leap forward as you eat with ease and grace and flow, right? And that is, there lies the beauty. There lies the beauty. So, tell us, where can they get to know more of you? Is there anything that you would like to share on how they can continue this conversation with you even beyond today?
Thank you for that question. Our website is widowhoodrealtalkwithtina.org. You can connect with me. You can send me an email at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail. Mention this conversation, and I would make myself available for a single free grief coaching session to be able to talk. Because one of the things that grief will do, it will mute you, and you'll feel like no one cares or no one understands. To be able to have a conversation with someone that you know sincerely cares and they are connecting with you and want to be in that corner, it can be very empowering.
Oh, so good. I will make sure to put those links in the show notes. So go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity that Tina is offering you today. What a beautiful gift to be able to share and have that your support. And so wow, what an amazing, amazing conversation. I know that a lot of times we think that, okay, the business, but this is the reason why we're talking about this because it's the life side of your life harmony that is so essential. And so let us know what your biggest takeaway, your perspectives, and your biggest comments in the chat. And go ahead and grab your free gift from Tina. And we look forward to seeing you again for another episode of Freedom Fridays next week. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, my pleasure, Tina. Thanks for being here.